Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily Reflector's Fearless Football Forecast. I'm Jordan Anders. He's Ronnie Woodward. Ronnie we're out here at Farmville Central this week with the Jaguars practicing behind us. Finally made it out here as we're into the last week of October, the next to last week of the season. Man, this thing is winding down.
It's my second time in Farmville in the last 5 days or so, 5 or 6 days.
So we're out here checking out the Jags today. They're on the road this week. One of 6 games that we've got going on. Got a handful, about 3 of these with big conference championship implications, Ronnie, that we're going to talk about. We'll start in the ECC 3A 4A with kind of group these together, Ronnie, because we were talking before we went on before we started recording here, and we've got the fact of we're looking at D.H. Conley and South Central next week potentially playing for. They're both still unbeaten in the league, at the top of the league. And if they're both still unbeaten next week, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
With them playing for a conference championship. But both have Wayne County teams, road games in Wayne County to get through this week. D.H. Conley is at Southern Wayne. South Central is at CB Aycock. Games that we're kind of grouping together because, as you and I were talking about, we both feel like these should be games that both these teams go in, Conley and South Central go in and win. Maybe not, I don't know how easily on the road, because, I mean, that's a decent little haul for both of those teams. But definitely feel like this is a couple of games that both those teams should win. Conley coming off a big win at home against Rose. I was there for that last week, and that game went almost exactly according to script, the way that we all thought it was going to, with Conley getting out to a big start early and being able to roll past Rose. South Central goes on the road to New Bern last week. They get a lopsided win. A big win, and a lopsided win that came pretty late there. They didn't really pull away and put that game away until the fourth quarter. So a couple of what you could view as trap games here if these teams are not careful, if these kids are not careful, looking at these Wayne County teams that have not great. I think there's 2 wins between them, and both of those are with Aycock. Southern Wayne is winless. So, kind of a big week where those teams kind of have to keep focus here and make sure that they are not looking ahead to that matchup between the 2 of them next week. But I don't think that's an issue. I think the more interesting one will be South Central. I think Conley will go to Southern Wayne and really handle his business. South Central, I think, also will, but I would not be surprised to see a similar situation to last week where Aycock kind of hangs around and then South Central puts it away late.
All right, I'm going to go with both teams win big. I'm just going to go out and say it. I know I've heard some people out in the community say that me more so than you have been cautious on some blowouts and stuff. So I'm going to say they both go take care of business, easy, simple, win big. I do agree maybe South Central has a little more trouble, but Conley's going to roll. I think the Falcons are going to roll as well. And we get our matchup next week, what we want to see, what you will go cover, a conference championship game.
Will be fun.
Simple, easy, we'll move on. No disrespect to those teams, but that's just the way it is. Sorry. Eastern Wayne is at Rose, also in that conference. This one will be in Greenville, unlike the other games we just talked about. This one's big, though. Eastern Wayne's 4-4, 1-3 in the league. Rose is 2-2 in the league. We talked last week about they really seem to be playing a lot better or hitting their stride a little bit. Then you come to the big rivalry game and you face Conley, and hate to say it, but Conley's just a lot better.
They were just kind of outclassed them.
Yeah, I was about to say outclassed them. They were just better. They're a better team. They have better players right now. That's just kind of the way it is. So this is a big game for Rose for sure, and I think Rose, they end with New Bern typically.
At New Bern this year.
This is a big 2-week stretch, I think. This is New Bern, Rose, Eastern Wayne are probably right there behind Conley and South Central as far as the middle of the conference. So if Rose wants to make the playoffs, get as best a seed as it can, all that kind of stuff, it has to win this one for sure.
Definitely.
And maybe even go beat New Bern as well. But you got to start with this week. I think this is a close one. Rose is at home. I still haven't seen the Rampants play. I'm not that confident in them, to be honest. I don't think they're a great team, but I saw Eastern Wayne against South Central, and they were kind of lost somewhat early in the game. They ran it like a million times. It didn't work. Then they were throwing all over the place. That was a game that was like 80
something,
whatever it was. 60 something.
54,
just a game where there was no defense at all. Maybe this is the same way. I'm struggling right now. I think I'll take Rose because they're at home, but they're going to have to score. I think they're going to have to win a shootout or score and keep up with Eastern Wayne a little bit, because I think Eastern Wayne, depending on how they play and turnovers and the various aspects in any football game, I think this is a good one. This is a close one. I'll take the Rampants without knowing a whole lot about them or this matchup, to be honest.
I think it's a close one, and as someone who is going to cover that game probably on Friday night, I'm afraid that it could be a could be a situation where it winds up with a bunch of points being scored. And, because you mentioned Eastern Wayne has shown they can score some points. The Rampants have shown that
Make sure our battery doesn't die there. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. The Rampants have scored some points. They hung 70 on Southern Wayne a couple weeks ago. You saw Eastern Wayne score 50-something earlier in the year.
Yep. So
this feels like it could be a shootout, but I'm gonna side with you here, and I think the Rampants handle their business at home. It's senior night for them, so I think they pick up a big win. The other home game in Pitt County this week is North Pitt at home against Nash Central. Ronnie, as much as I would like to say that this is the week that the Panthers kind of get off the schneid, this is a Nash Central team that's only lost one game all year. North Pitt still they played a North Johnston team
losses.
That was
one conference
right one loss in the league. But yeah, definitely a situation where looked like North Johnston we thought maybe might be the point where North Pitt could get over the hump, and they only scored 12 points last week in a loss. So I don't see the road getting much easier for the Panthers this week. So I think Nash Central gets the win.
Definitely, as you mentioned and hit on, just not scoring enough points consistently for North Pitt. Maybe they play well Farmville next week, rivalry game to end the season. I don't think it happens this week. I think the Panthers are facing another long Friday night, so I'll take Nash Central as well. Speaking of the Jaguars, we are here in Farmville. I saw Farmville last week. They're 4-5, 1-2 in the league. They're traveling to Bedingfield, who is kind of the transverse of that a little bit, 5-4 overall, 2-1 in the league. I tell you what, though, I know Farmville's banged up, and we talked about it some. Especially their lead kind of junior star player, and just some other key players are out and hurting and whatnot, and have been. I thought they looked pretty good against Southwest Edgecombe last week. It was close. It was a game that, if they could have got like a pick six or a kickoff return or maybe a couple more big plays, they could have hung with it, potentially won. But it was a close game. Southwest Edgecombe was just more, like I said, more healthy, more complete, kind of more polished, and kind of grinded out a victory, kind of the way I wrote it and saw it on Friday. So the one time that I saw Farmville, again, wasn't overly impressed with some of the playmakers and different things. They have some, but defensively was pretty stout. They're able to hit some plays on offense every now and then. So, this is a big one. I think Southwest Edgecombe last week, they probably knew going into it and during the game they're a little outmanned and we're facing an uphill battle or kind of an upset-minded situation. I think this one, much more winnable game, as we said. The records alone, both teams being around 500, probably shows that. So yeah, as much as I've talked about how much I like Farmville, I think I'm going to take Bedingfield. Being at home, they fare better in the league. I don't know exactly how that, how their record is as far as which teams they've beaten and haven't and whatnot, but I think a close game, much like the Eastern Wayne Rose, maybe these are probably our two closest games, and some good ones this week. I'll take Bedingfield at home to kind of keep my home heavy picks going here.
Well, I'll take the Jaguars then, so that we're not. I
was thinking you might do that.
Riding on the same side of everything. Although I say that, and especially because I'm not going to come here to Farmville and pick against them, but I say that with fully knowing in mind that before we recorded this, I was over there talking to Scott Gardner a little bit ago, and he said it is, in terms of the injuries and just the shuffling of the pieces they've had to do, has been right up there with some of the craziest stuff that has happened to them since he's been here. So it's a real struggle for them, trying to see if Keziah Everett is going to be able to play the last couple of weeks. We mentioned them getting Jay Lavelle back last week on offense, but they didn't really get a whole lot. They only scored 7 points against Southwest. So just a lot of question marks and a lot of moving pieces. Coach Gardner told me it was kind of like trying to fit Legos together to kind of make sure that they've got guys in all the spots that they need. But they're at home, and playing for their playoff life is exactly what he said to me a little bit ago. So I think they are able to ride that and turn that into somehow, some way, scrapping and pulling out a win in a game that they absolutely have to.
Yep.
And then speaking of needing a win, that leads us into the last game of the week, which is Aiden Grifton on the road at West Craven in a game that we thought last week might be a matchup of unbeaten teams in that league and kind of a de facto conference championship game. And then earlier when we were talking about South Central and Conley and the potential of a trap game, look no further than what happened to Aiden Grifton last week. Because, man, those kids go to a North Lenoir team that had not won a conference game, and just the combination of drop passes and turnovers and other, different little little nitpicky things that you have to do right, and that Aiden Grifton teams typically do right, they did not do on the road, and they wound up falling at North Lenoir. Still could be, still in a position where if they win and then win next week, they could at least share the conference championship, or if somehow West Craven loses this week and then in the finale they could win it still outright. But definitely a must win if Aiden Grifton, because they're not even assured a spot in the playoffs yet. I mean, they've got to win everything that they can, and winning a conference championship to lock their way in would be the easiest way. So they're going on the road, a tough matchup. Coach Paul Cornwell told me probably the best, most talented team that they've played all year, the toughest team they played all year.
Okay.
But I think the Chargers, I know this week from talking to him over the weekend, this week was not going to be easy in terms of making sure that they were focused in practice this week. But I like the Chargers going on the road against a really tough team, and kind of their backs against the wall is when they tend to do pretty well. So I think they go in there, and I don't know that you would call it an upset because they're only one game behind them in the conference, up there for the conference lead. But I'll take the Chargers here.
Okay, wow, so you're taking Aiden and Farmville on the road.
I am.
It's funny, too, because those are two teams personally that I can't still figure out.
Right.
Whatever week we're at, 10, 11. Aiden and Farmville I've seen play a little bit, but I just can't get a good pulse on them. So I don't know. I'm going to take the easy cop-out, I guess, take the home team, the team that is the conference leader. I do like what you said. Aiden Grifton isn't a team that has like losing streaks usually, or has a whole bunch of up and downs. So they usually respond well after losses. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think West Craven is in position to take that conference and get first place. So what they have to grab this week with the victory this week would be so big for them, kind of having that game up. I think West Craven, I'll take them to win a close one. I think all these games we talked about are really close. Could go either way. I'm not confident at all in a lot of my picks, not going to lie. But I'll take the Eagles at home.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, then that's then we varied on a couple of different.
We did.
We
kept it interesting for you guys.
Yeah. So we'll have to check and see, make sure Ronnie doesn't knock the phone over here. But we're wrapping up, so we're all good. Those are the 6 games. We got, like we said, the 2 home games. Have somebody at Rose, somebody at North Pitt. We'll have stories on those games in Saturday's Reflector, and at Reflector.com we'll have reports from Goldsboro. We'll see, that's Dudley for Conley, Pikeville, over in my neck of the woods for South Central.
Yep.
And then for Aiden Grifton and Farmville on the road. Thanks to Coach Gardner and the Jags for letting us come hang out today. We'll have results from all those games Saturday in Saturday's paper and at Reflector.com. I'm on Twitter at Reflector Jordan. He's at Ronnie W11. I almost gave my Twitter handle again. So you can follow me twice. So we'll have updates and results and all that on there and at Reflector.com. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week for the last week of the regular season, Ronnie.
That's true.
Be a big one for Conley and South Central. So looking forward to that. Thanks for watching.